Hi again, this is Irina, and in this video we are going to talk about how long should I let the session go for. So we are talking now about coaching or consulting session, right? And my answer to this is it depends. And it's probably not what you're looking for, but let's talk about a few factors that actually are at work when we decide what the actual answer is. And it depends on the type of session. It depends on the type of service we are providing. It depends on the type of client we are having in front of us, or on the phone or online. And it also depends on the phase of business we are in. And now it depends on, let's say, the type of client we have. What does that mean? Well, it's a big difference if you work with adults and if you work with children. And because we know, even kids, if you take them at different ages, they have a different attention span. If you need to do work with them, it's going to be very different because a young kid is not going to be able to last through a long session with you. So then you'll have to really squeeze your work into as much as they can take for that amount of time. But it's very different when you work with adults. And many times adults are trying to stretch it and they're going to take longer time for the same amount of work. Like sometimes they want to get more of you. Sometimes it's really hard to connect with them, and by the time you get to do what you have to do, it's already past the time that you actually had in mind. Many times you cannot connect at all, and then the session is very short because you're not going to get those long elaborate answers from your client. So see, it all depends on the client too. However, with all that in mind, we cannot just stretch our schedule depending on who's coming, right? So then we need to have this guide. Usually a coaching or consulting session goes for 45 minutes to 1 hour. But again, this is not set in stone because at the beginning of your practice, you will tend to have more 1 hour sessions. And then the further along you go and the more you develop and the more specialized you get and the more specific you get, you are going to, and the more skilled you get in delivering what you have to offer, the session is going to shrink. So maybe sometime in phase 3 of your business, your session is going to be 30 minutes max, even 20 minutes will do. So it really depends, right? And then let's say the type of service that you have. It could be a physical one, like you can provide massage and that's like 60 minutes or 90 minutes, whatever, or it can be a coaching session. And that, again, like depending on what you want to do, it could take different amounts of time. And now what type of session that's very important again, because we have different objectives. So if it's a regular coaching session that the client booked in advance and now we are delivering it, you know ahead of time what you have to do. And again, depending on the factors that we discussed before, you can set a time. But let's say it's a sales call, because that is going to have a place in your agenda too. That is not going to take 1 hour. That is going to even take 15 minutes. It depends again, and it depends on the quality of the relationship you have with the prospect. But I would think that all these together, okay, you'll have to factor them in. One constant across all the businesses and all the services and products that we can ever offer is that it goes back to the objective of the session. You need to know ahead of time what you want to achieve during that time. Based on your experience, you are going to know how much that takes. And that's also an indication for you to understand how much to put in one session, what kind of objective to choose. Sometimes you want to do that much, but you know that where you are right now, it's going to take way longer than it's appropriate at this point. Maybe the client is not even able to stay with you for such a long time. So then you will have to cut that into pieces and deliver it in smaller fractions of the same thing. Again, the idea is to know exactly what you want to deliver. So what is your objective? And then when you know what you want to do and you think, okay, maybe I'm in the first phase of my business, I'm going to budget 15 minutes for this session, you need to also know what are your milestones. And by that, I mean, in your head, you would have to know that, for example, by the time I hit 10 minutes into the session, I need to be done with my intro, with setting rapport, and last week's actions review, and coaching around obstacles. So, and depending on where I am with that, I need to be able to course correct and make sure that by the end of the session, I reached my objectives at all. So that's what I would say. Again, many factors, come in, and every business is different and every person is different. But I would think that obviously you need to have a very tightly and neat schedule. You need to know exactly what you put in, and you have to have objectives and aim for like 45 minutes to 1 hour if you are a beginner. That's it. I'll see you in the next video. Bye.